Guys, I've been all over the place. I've been making videos, not making videos, you name it, because I've been working on an over 28-hour course on mastering chess endgames. It's finally here. Me, along with my editor Gwen with Coastline Creative, have put a lot of time into this. I hope that you enjoy it. It's really meant to get you into the top 1% of endgame players. And if you're interested in getting a 30% off discount, only good through the month of September, you can go down to the description below, go down to the pinned comment, plug in the discount code of Chess25, and if you do that, you will receive 30% off on your purchase, no matter if you're just getting the Mastering Chess Endgames course, or really no matter how many courses you decide to invest in. For those of you that have already invested in the Endgames course, I appreciate y'all a ton, and I hope you guys are enjoying it. And for those of you that do get the course, I hope you enjoy it as well. Again, this is really purpose to help you improve as a player. This course, I mean, it's over 28 hours. There's no fluff in there. There's no, just kind of hanging out. We're really getting after it. We're really trying to improve the game of chess. We're trying to start out with those fundamentals and build into those more complicated concepts that really the only top 1% of chess endgame players know about. Again, hope you all enjoy it. And yeah, let's now head over to the main video where I'm not wearing these Shrek glasses. I don't know what else to call them. See you over there. In today's video, we're going to be covering the most important setup that you can learn how to play against as a Hippopotamus Defense player. Now, in general in this series, the Need to Know series, I'm picking out one opening at a time, and we're really covering one memorization line. The line that you should start out by memorizing. The most important line you can memorize because that's the most common thing that your opponent goes with. Now, when playing the Hippo with my move order, this is the most common setup that we see from white in online chess. This right here. Now, there's a lot of ways of getting into this position as black. Okay, I'll show you my type of move order with the 1, 2, and 3. Right, you could play e6. From this point, right, I usually do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I go with 5 or 5. I mean, it just depends on the day whether you want to invite that bishop to g5 for an extra move or not. But in either case, you play knight e7, h6, right? Here you can play knight d7, you could play a6, you could play b6. There's a lot of ways of getting into the Hippo Defense setup. But nonetheless, we get into this type of position, and I've reached this exact position, I believe, multiple times. And if not this exact position, stuff very close to it, okay? In fact, one of my games in the tournament, in which case I went 6-0 with nothing but the Hippopotamus Defense. I played the Hippo as white and black to reach the National Master title. In one of those games, my opponent went for this kind of approach, castling queenside, and then hurling down those g4 and h4 pawns. I'll leave a link to that in the description below for those of you that are interested in seeing how that game played out. But what are we trying to do here as a Hippopotamus Defense player? Let's cover some of the ideas. We're looking to attack that king on the queen side aggressively. And b5 is a key component of that. If white does try to slow down b5, which I don't expect you'll see a4 much, but if you do at any point, you can still play b5. I mean, we're actually really excited to see this move. If the pawn pushes to a5, for example, I mean, we're able to, look towards b4, c5. a5 is just a big old target at that point. So you didn't really stop us from doing what we wanted to do. And if white goes, okay, I'm going to take, we capture back. If you take with the knight, the game's over. That's it. If white takes with the bishop, we can throw in a check and then take on e4 because the knight had to leave that pawn behind. Notice we're pinning this knight to the rook in the corner. And let's say something like rook h3, queen a8. We have two battery rams now, one going towards the knight, another going towards the rook. And we just have great control in this position. We are threatening to take the knight on f3. And the second best move for white, which I guess is queen to c3 or queen b4, that's about -5 for black. If we see queen to e2, this is nearly -4 for black, in which case we can play the move of knight to d5. Queen a2 is okay. But notice by bringing that queen to e2, white has opened up the knight d2 possibility. And white here, for now at least, is just barely hanging on defensively. But I mean, following bishop d5, getting our bishop to a centralized spot, we're still completely crushing this. I don't think our opponent is super comfortable in any sense. But the best move against queen e2, right, is knight d5. Right? Why not get more pieces to the party here? right? Your queen's already pretty active. You can always play queen a2 when you want to, right? Let's play knight d5. Let's go with this, okay? And by the way, if bishop c4, okay, fine. You did cover a2, so our queen can't do it at that point, but that's fine. We can look towards castling kingside to get this rook involved and into the game. But okay, let's say we see king d2. What do we do about this? Well, I do want to say here, right, there's multiple options available. Okay, rook a2. The engine really likes that. Attacking b2. The engine really likes f5. I mean, you could make a bunch of different moves here. You could play c6, and the engine is going to say you made an inaccurate move, and then it's going to tell you that you're winning. But the engine move here is castling kingside. Crazy. And yeah, I thought this was interesting because when I first saw this, I was like, why is this calling it a brilliant? I only see brilliant moves if you're giving up a piece, and then I realized, oh wait. We are giving up a piece. Bishop takes d7. Turns out, though, rook b8. We're down a piece. Stockfish just doesn't care. Okay? Doesn't care. I mean, every single one of our pieces is in a great spot. We're looking towards b2. Let's say we see something like b3. Okay, we throw in a check. We throw in a check. Right? You block with the pawn on c3, b3 falls. You block on b4. Why are you even thinking about that? You play knight c3. We win the game on the spot. Queen takes c3. You run the king away. Rook takes b3. Beautiful move. And you can't even take our rook back because you just get checkmated. So, I mean, rook b8 there. Great position. If bishop e5 trying to get in the way, okay. We throw in a check, and we could play rook a2, among other options. But rook a2 is a great one there. Rook a3 also works, which is kind of fun. But, I mean, rook a2, right? Go after the pawn. That's the only defender for that knight on c3. If the pawn pushes, I mean, c3 is going to fall and white's going to get mated. If rook b1, we could take on c3 with the knight. You can't even take back without running into rook takes c2. So, as you can see, guys, with a6, a4, and looking to stop it that way, white does go up a pawn, but it's disastrous for them because we have that rook a1, queen a8 idea. And don't feel the pressure to castle kingside there and give up a pawn, or sorry, excuse me, give up a knight, okay? That's the engine move there. That doesn't mean we have to do it. If I was in a tournament game, even if I knew hanging the knight was the engine move, I wouldn't do it. Because why play risky? I have a crushing attack. Why sacrifice when I don't need to? That's my approach. But okay, in this kind of spot with the king on the queen side, a4 just doesn't stop this at all. What about h5? Right, this is actually a good move for white, and it's a lot better than g5 because at least with h5, when we play g5, white has all this pressure against our pawn. Right, but even then, there's a lot of ways white can go wrong. We want to expand with b5. That in general in these types of positions, that's a great place to start. And remember, when the king is on the queen side, you don't want to just tuck the knight on b6. You don't want to just go boom, right? Which is what I did for quite a while. But then I ended up realizing, wait a second, I want to play c5. I want to keep expanding, and I'm okay with the knight getting on b6 eventually. But if I play knight b6 right now, c5 doesn't have the support that it did, and white does have a pawn and a bishop looking at it. So let's play c5 right now. Our knight protects it. When white takes, we pushed a flank pawn. If you're pushing to f5 or c5, look to the sides. Is there a black pawn on one of those two squares? Yeah? Okay, take with the pawn. No? Okay, take with the knight. That usually gives you the correct move. And, okay, if white plays something like knight h2, in this case, hey, b5 is still a great move. I would say, hey, at this point, c5 does work. Because of the fact that d4 only has one defender, we are threatening to take and have a little center fork with our pawn going after those two minor pieces. With a6, if g5, I've seen this idea before. White here playing g5, trying to make something happen. I believe this happened in my National Master tournament where I hit it by going 6-0. But notice, this is just a big mistake for white because they're running out of steam. You have this battery ram that's looking towards a pawn. You have this knight that's looking towards a pawn. The pawn can't move. This pawn can't move. And if you throw this f-pawn down, you're just way behind in the race. Okay? Let's say we see knight h2. Let's say that we see that. c5, again. If we can threaten this while playing c5, why not? And taking, okay, let's look to the sides again. Is there a black pawn there? No? Okay, take with the knight. If something like bishop c4, keep this idea in mind as well. Okay, you do have 2 attackers on that pawn. Sometimes you can get away with taking this knight and then taking on e4. Of course, at this point in the game, if you take the knight and then go, okay, yay, I get to take the pawn, you're going to lose your rook. So be careful about that. So here, what do? Knight takes d4 right away. Right, knight takes e4, capture back with the bishop. Your bishops are incredibly placed. And if white wants to take on d6, go ahead. We capture back. We take the hanging rook. We're up a rook here. If you play f3, bishop b7 works. That totally works. There's a lot of moves there. Okay, a lot of good moves. But bishop b7 is the engine move. And again, white taking there doesn't help them. Okay, why is that? Well, you do get a pawn, but then we have knight f5. Knight f5, and we're attacking your rook. We're attacking the bishop. If you take on b6, we take the bishop, and we're looking at another bishop there. If you play rook d3, we could kick that light square bishop around, take on h4. We have a protected passed pawn. We got 2 attackers on f3. We got a great bishop on the dark square. I can go on and on. Returning to h5. What if d5 here? Okay, now I often talk about how the Hippopotamus Defense player wants the board locked up. Usually against d5, you just push the pawn. Usually against e5, you want to think about it. In some cases, pushing the pawn's great. In some cases, pushing the pawn isn't good. It just depends on white's structure. But most of the time against d5, we just lock it up. We just lock it up right there. Okay. However, in this position, playing e5 gives white the advantage because your key bishop on g7 is bad now. It's bad. And unlike usual Hippopotamus defense positions where we get the center locked up, our bishop can't improve at any point. Our bishop's just bad. That's all it is. So what do we do here in this spot? Here we can castle. We have an amazing attack on the way against this king. Let's keep that bishop where it is. I mean, if you want to take on e6, we capture back. Let's say white attacks the pawn. We got to play this well, okay? Rook f6 is terrible, obviously. If you bring the king out, white just lures your king to e6. I mean, let's just stop it there. So you got to play knight c5. And if you see b4, what do you do here? Right? Don't take this knight, because then the bishop captures back. You just got rid of your good bishop. They have a great bishop all of a sudden. Right now, theirs is bad, ours is good. Let's not take that knight. Let's not run back. That doesn't help us. Let's take on d3 with check, and then play queen d7 or queen c8. The engine actually likes queen c8, kind of a irregular-looking move, but I like the idea behind it, because just like queen d7, it defends e6, but it also is aimed towards the opponent's king. It's aimed towards the opponent's knight. It's aimed towards c5, which is a pawn break we're looking for. And it stays off of the d file, which white has 2 major pieces on. So queen c8 there, just a beautiful move. And I mean, okay, if white plays something like queen c4, for example, d5, let's expand. You want to take? We'll take back with the pawn. We'll play c5. You take? Okay, let's look to the sides. Do we have a pawn? Yeah? Okay. Take with the pawn. Beautiful stuff. Okay, if you guys haven't noticed, I like the Hippopotamus Defense. Just throwing that out there for anyone that didn't know. So that's great for us. Okay, so again, with the move of d5 there, I don't recommend going into e5 in this kind of spot. The king is on the queen side. You already have this pawn structure here, so you don't have flexibility in terms of getting a bunch of pawns aimed towards that very key f4 square, which we often try to get our knight on in the hippo. So again, in that kind of spot, just go with castling king side, and if capturing and then knight to d4, there you have the move of knight c5. Now, if white plays it right away, knight c5 gives us a better position, but we could just take the pawn on d5. We could do that. Take on d5, capture again. Our bishops are coming to life here. And here we are again with the winning position coming out of the hippo. White tried to play aggressively. It turns out we're the ones with the attacking play. And with h5. Okay, this position here. Again, you see something like knight h2. I like the approach to c5 because it threatens something. You see something like d5 there, don't lock it up. Very rare instance in which case we're not locking it up with e5. It's very common for us to not lock up with d5, but usually we lock up with the e5, but not there. But let's finish things out by covering the most common move that we see from white in online chess as a whole. Let's rewind to this position. This is the most common setup against the hippo that white can go with. The most common move is g5. We know we're locking it up there. They push one of those pawns, we're locking it up. But we're happy they pushed here because they just don't have any play now. They're just stuck. The attacking chess is out the window for white. The most common move now for white, is e5. This number one shows just how unprepared players are for the hippo. But I gotta say something here. Most hippo players just push the pawn. And look, when you're playing the hippo and you see d5, you want to lock it up. Nearly every time. We covered an exception in this video. When you see the move of e5, you want to think about it. Sometimes this is a good move. It's often not. It depends on white's structure. Here playing d5, we do have a better position. I would much rather be black. We still have c5 on the way. c5, queen c7, maybe at some point putting a rook on c8. I mean, we can really make a game out of this. But let's just think for a second. When white played this, one of our bishops just got better. Whenever white pushes either of these pawns, one of your bishops will be more active. It could be for one move, it could be for a while, depending on if you lock it up or not. But with playing e5, the knight hangs. And the most common move, again, is black locking this up. Black usually locks it up, where black should go, you know what? Thanks for the knight. And with a lot of my private students, this is something that, I try to remind them of. My private students that, want to talk about the hippo, obviously. I'd probably say a little over half of my students play the hippo. Maybe half, I don't know. The other half play other options. So if you're interested in any chess openings, if you want to get better at the middle game, if you want to drill some endgame stuff. If you're just trying to improve as a player, I will leave a link to my private chess lessons link below as well. No strings attached, just a chance for us to talk and see if it'd be a good fit. But that said, a lot of my students, in which case play the Hippopotamus Defense, this is something we talk about. Anytime they push a center pawn, don't just lock it up. Think about it. Think about your bishop. Sometimes you can take a hanging piece. Sometimes you can mess up their pawn structure by taking the knight right off. Sometimes you shouldn't lock it up. Sometimes you just have way more attackers on the pawn than they do. Sometimes you should just leave your pawn there, especially if it's on d6. In this case, guys, remember, take the knight. That's my encouragement to you that play the hippo. When they push a pawn, please look at your bishop. I cannot tell you how many times I've seen someone miss a hanging knight, a hanging rook, you name it. Okay, but again, I hope you guys got something out of this video and the ideas behind it. b5 is something we're looking towards. And we do want to tuck the knight eventually, in a lot of cases. But don't just play b5, knight b6 against the king on the queen side. Play b5 and use your knight on d7 to support c5. You got queen c7 there. And then once c5 is really solidified by your queen, you can think about knight b6, tucking that guy. Again, quick reminder, through the month of September, I got that 30% off discount code good for all of my online courses, including the Hippopotamus Defense, including the Modern Scandinavian, including my Chess Endgames course, which is over 28 hours in length. If you're interested in any of those courses or all of them, plug in the discount code CHESS25 and you will receive 30% off on your purchase. Links in the pinned comment and description below. I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace. I wanted to finish this video out by giving a big thanks to Walter, Steve, Rob, that's a lot of Robs, Ray, Roger, and the rest of my Patreon community. I appreciate you guys a ton. If you guys haven't checked out the Patreon before, there are some exclusive benefits that you gain by becoming a member, and I look forward to seeing y'all in the next video. Peace.